Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about how tragic backstories in Star Trek is nothing new. So I don't know why people keep complaining about it. Okay, ever since New Trek has started, one thing has been consistent. Pretty much every major character has had some type of tragic backstory, starting with that of Discovery. However, it went further than that. It went back to the 2009 JJ movie when Kirk lost his father and his mother. So, here's the thing. With New Trek, ever since we're like Michael Burnham and Saru and then Tilly and now the new Picard series and stuff like that, it seems like every person that's a major character has some type of huge traumatic backstory that makes them like the reason why they joined Starfleet, something like that. And so I know a couple of people have been complaining about that, like online and stuff. And so I'm just like, oh yeah, that is the pattern. But then I stopped and I thought about it. Wait, hold up. Have they never watched Star Trek in the past? Do they not know of any of the past characters? Pretty much every past Star Trek character has some type of traumatic backstory. It's either told to us like early on in the first season of the show, or it comes up later on in the series. But pretty much everybody has a tragic backstory. So I don't understand why people are complaining about this now, other than the fact it's New Trek and they have to find something to complain about because New Trek is starting to get better, at least with Strange New Worlds. And they're like, crap, what I'm going to complain about next and stuff. Now, I don't have Paramount Plus yet. I'm waiting to Strange New Worlds to end. I've only seen the first episode. I've heard about the second one, about Uhura's backstory, kind of be retcon type thing, and how she has a tragic backstory, and people's all like, oh, another tragic backstory, and blah, 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 blah. But it's kind of like, dude, watch any old Star Trek show, any character, and they pretty much got a tragic backstory. I'll give you a couple of examples of some people. Let's see. Deanna Troi. We've known for a long time her father died many years ago, right? Back when she was like a baby and stuff like that. Okay, that's tragic right there. But then we find out later on that she actually had a sister that she never knew of, and her sister was actually older, and her mom her mom and dad wasn't paying attention to her sister, and her sister drowned and died. That is tragic, and that happened with old Trek. Now let's get into Worf. Worf, he was young when his father was alive, but his father was framed and dishonored. And then his father was killed by the Romulans and everything when a couple of Klingons helped set that up. And so as a result, Worf had to go live with humans and stuff, and he had a hard time adapting to being on Earth, being that of a Klingon. And so then he found out who betrayed his father and this and that, like an old friend of his father. That's tragic right there. Data. Data was created. He knew nothing of the man who created him. And he was left where he was found, and then he joined Starfleet. And then he always assumed that Noonan Soong was dead for the longest time, only to find out, oh wait, he's alive. And so then we learn about all the prototypes that came before and the androids, and how he was married to a woman and how she died, and then he built an android of his wife and all this other stuff. And then what was it, Laura? I forget his name. He murdered Noonan Soong before Data could ever truly get to know him and everything. That's tragic right there. William Riker, him and his dad are estranged. I forget why, because it's been a long time. But yeah, they're estranged. That's not really tragic, but it is tragic in another sense, the sense that he never got to spend time with his father the way he wanted to, and he had this resentment against him. Tom Paris. Tom Paris, well, he's the son of an admiral in Starfleet. So he had to live up to a certain standard. And then he screwed up big time in Starfleet Academy that got him in trouble and sent to jail. And because of that, it caused him and his father to be estranged. And it caused Tom to kind of go down like this dark, gloomy path. That's tragic right there. But Lana, she's half Klingon, half human, and her mom is Klingon and was very Klingon, and her dad, he left their family because of how Klingon her mom was, and he got kind of tired of all that like grumpy Klingonness and stuff, and she was picked on and bullied because of her cranial ridges because she's half Klingon, and her dad walked off from her. Nobody knows what happened to him. Her mom, she found out eventually had died. Dude, that's tragic right there. 7 of 9. 7 of 9 was just like a little girl hanging out with her parents, like zooming through like the galaxy and everything. And they decided to hunt down some Borg, and the Borg decided to hunt them back and assimilated their entire family. The girl got assimilated at age 9. When she was like about 29 or something like that, that's when she was freed by like Voyager and stuff. But she spent her whole life being that of an android, and then being ripped away from that and the perfection of being Borg, like made her go cuckoo in the head and stuff at one point. That's tragic right there. Spock, he's half human, half Vulcan. And, Vulcans are taught to suppress their emotions, and all Vulcans have them. But him being half human, he has another range of emotions. So that was hard for him to have to, like, suppress all that, and that's tragic right there. Not as much, but still, you know how hard that had to be. And now in the JJ movie, they say he got picked on, this and that. That's tragic, what I'm saying? And stuff. And then JJ Kirk lost his like parents and everything, and that caused him to be a rebel growing up. Tragedy right there. Geordi, he was born blind. That sucks. Nothing against blind people, but people want to see, and so that's tragic right there. And so like that's just tragic right there. Dude can't never see nothing. He don't know nothing. He don't know what his own parents look like and everything. Not Gates. Dr. Crusher. Like, we find out eventually, many years later, that like every woman in her family got preyed upon on this like alien ghost thing, and dated all them and mated with all them, all kind of stuff, and it's just like we're doing them and stuff, and that's tragic right there. Not to mention she lost her husband and everything, and her son never got to see his dad, and Picard was the commanding officer at that time, and so he feels bad because Beverly's a little upset about that, and Wesley, that's tragedy right there. He lost his dad, and Picard was the commanding officer, and he blamed Picard for the longest time, and he's supposed to look up to Picard and everything. That's hard for him. So, and then not to mention Tasha Yar, everybody forget about. Remember, she was on that planet where they were like slaves and people getting like sexually assaulted and criminals and all this other crap, and that's tragedy right there. Every person from TNG has a tragic backstory. Trying to think. Neelix, Talaxians are considered like poor, scummy people, and people don't want nothing to do with them. And he had to have so many odd jobs, and lost his sister at a certain age, and and there's all kind of crap. And he grew up poor and having to struggle, and somehow he met Keth somehow and tried to like save her, and that's tragic right there. His whole poor backstory. Who else from Voyager? Harry does not have one. I don't think Tuvok has one. No, wait, Tuvok has something. I just remember something about Tuvok being angsty as a teenager, and he had to go to some temple on this and that, but I can't remember nothing much about that. Tuvok lost his friend, remember, in that flashback where Sulu came in. He lost like one of his like closest friends and his bunkmate. And it doesn't haunt him, but that's something that he misses that dude. You know what I'm saying? That's tragic right there. And at some point in time, he left Starfleet and everything, and then came on back. Tragedy right there. Benjamin Sisko lost his freaking wife to the Borg attack when Picard was turned into a Borg. And as a result of that, his tragic backstory also goes into that of Jake because he lost his mom. How tragic is that, you know? Oh, Kira. She was basically a slave in the whole Bajoran occupation thing, and she had to become a terrorist and everything. How tragic is that? Odo, he was separated from his people for many decades and everything, having to grow around strangers, learning to take shapes and forms, being experimented on. And then when he found his people, he turned out that they was like the bad people. Tragic right there. Um, hmm. Bajur, I guess, because you know he was born not very smart and he had like a problem, and so as a result, they had to experiment some kind of illegal way and make him like a supercomputer brain. That's pretty tragic, you know what I'm saying? Um, O'Brien, he worked on the well, I forget what the Pegasus, I think it was, and I can't remember that ship name. And so he had that one commanding officer he looked up to, and they had to like fight like Kardashians and everything, and like he grew hatred towards them when he just hates all of them. And then it turns out his former captain was like a bad guy and just going around killing people just because of their alien race and stuff. That was a tragic backstory right there. Um. Geez, what else? Worf's kid lost his mom and everything. Tragic. Um, I think Janeway's okay for the most part. Well, they did bring up one tragic thing about how she was a lieutenant and she had like an away mission with some people and some people got hurt. So she felt bad and decided to go there herself and almost died and stuff like that. Tragic. Um, yeah, I can't really think. Kess. She was like, you know, I don't know about her backstory. She just wasn't allowed to leave her planet because of the Kazon. Tragic. um, do. I can't really think of nobody else from the TOS, and I'm not too familiar with the people of Enterprise. But yeah, so many people had tragic backstories, and nobody complained back then. But now all of a sudden, people want to like complain, and I don't understand that. So people have always had tragic backstories in Trek. It's nothing new. It's just you forgot about it. Alrighty, well I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.